What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel for another Football Manager tips and tricks video. Today we are going to be discussing scouting. Now, I get asked this question all the time: Steve, how can I improve my scouting? How did you find this particular player for so cheap? How can I implement some of the stuff that you've done in some of your saves in mine and find these absolute gem players? Now, I'm going to go over a couple of different things today. Hopefully some of these points will make your scouting ultimately better and you have a better experience on Football Manager. It's not necessarily all about going out and buying the elite massive level players every time. I find great joy in going finding these little gems that you can buy for a small amount of money, then sell for multiple millions later on in the save, especially if you're staying at the same club just for the same for the same save. Let's get into it and I can talk you through some of my tips. So guys, tip number one is always have the best staff in the division, and I bang on about staff all the time, and it's such a key thing that I think a lot of people overlook. This is my Pentagon challenge save. If you've not caught up with this Pentagon challenge save, it is fantastic, if I do say so myself. We now find ourselves, after winning 4 of the major 5 trophies we need to win, we are now in Europe. We are at Hertha Berlin, and the objective now for us is to just win the Champions League with Hertha Berlin. As you can see, I've got the best staff in the division, goes without saying. It's a standard protocol for me, but as you can see, guys, so I've got 1 chief scout. I've also got 25 other scouts, which is a massive advantage for me because I can send them to so many different areas in the world trying to find as good a youngster as we possibly can. And as you can see, I'll show you something in a minute, their knowledge center is absolutely ridiculous. So going out and finding the best staff possible is always a plus. So as you can see, I've got 25 plus the chief scout. For me, go on the staff search. I use the FM Scout views all the time to find the best out there. So for this, I can just search staff role, and then we go in here, and as you can see, you can get staff left, right, and center. You can see this guy here, a 5-star scout. He's got 2020, absolutely next level. Knows Argentina, Paraguay, Uruguay, Colombia, which are key nations to know. He is the chief scout at at Racing over in Argentina, but you know, you could probably pry him away. Nathan Fisher, again, another one, looks really good. And this is how you boost your staff levels up, guys. Use these filters, use the view that's on screen right now. Links to that will be down in the description, and you can go and find these yourselves. Go and find these absolute gem of players, gem of staff, sorry, like this guy, Joshua White here. Okay, not as good. He's got 13 for player ability, 17 for player potential, so he knows a good player, a young player, when he sees one. So don't necessarily be detracted by the fact that they're not 100% 20 out of 20 for all their attributes, especially some of the free staff members. I say free, this guy's free because, you know, he doesn't have a contract, so it's easier to negotiate rather than paying some of the fees that you will have to for some of the others. I have found over the summers, if you can time it right, a lot of staff churn over in the game, new staff members are created, put into the game, etc, etc. The summer is the best time to do this, guys, but make sure you utilize your staff. Point number 2 for me is to extend the knowledge you have all across the world. This is my world scouting map, and you can see what yours is at your club by going onto the scouting tab here and then hitting this knowledge tab up here. So as you can see, in terms of the whole world, we've got 36% of the world completely covered. With many nations completely covered off. So as you can see in the list on the right hand side, some of it's going to be behind my head, but we've got full understanding of Belgium, France, Russia, Portugal, Holland, England, Hungary, Greece, Colombia, Brazil, Australia, Ukraine, Switzerland, Spain, Aruba, Argentina, Mexico, Scotland, Germany. They're just at full, just because of different staff members. As you can see here, you've got the associated staff member around the right hand side. Then obviously we've got other knowledge. Austria is created because of Hertha Berlin, Nigeria, Gabon, Turkey, United States, etc, etc. So this is where it comes in. So whilst you are pulling in the best staff possible, make sure you have a nice widespread of where they're from, just to cover a large portion of this map. I need to improve my knowledge of Africa. I'm always asking for more scouts, and I think African scouts are what I'm going to be looking for next. Trying to ideally cover off the South South of Africa, Western Africa, I think are the areas that I'm going to be looking for next. But having a good wide scouting knowledge makes more players appear here. The more countries you know about, the more players that are going to appear here in your scouting search, and you'll be able to find these absolute monsters. As you can see, some of these guys are already at big clubs already: Liverpool, Monaco, Manchester United, Barca. But you will get one every now and again, like 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪 𝙈𝙚 here. He may not look good to you. I can assure you this guy's an absolute monster in this save. He wants to leave. He's exceptionally good, thrives in big matches, is absolutely ridiculous. He's very consistent, great little player, and he's at Metz. So these are how you pick up these youngsters very early on in the save, and this is how they turn into 95, £100 million players, guys. Next up, we are going to talk about a super quick tip, which I saw 𝘼𝙗𝙗 mention first and foremost. So shout out to Z for finding this, or being told about this and bringing it to my attention at the very least. You know, in the scouting center, this is where you get all your reports, okay? What you can do is it gives you them as a card, as standard. What 𝘼𝙗𝙗 said about, and what I've been doing ever since, is by clicking this list version here, it pops everybody into a list. It's so much easier. You can see everybody rather than having to click through one player at a time. If that makes sense, you can go in and you can just look at the list and you can sort by recommended, for instance, and there is that 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪 𝙈𝙚 again knocking about down there. We've got some incredible players on our shortlist, but viewing things as a list easily shows you all of the scouting assignments that you could try and find, and that is a fantastic tip coming from 𝘼𝙗𝙗. Make sure you guys do it. The penultimate thing from me then is to use your director of football suggestions. If you have a director of football like I do, I don't necessarily buy their suggestions all the time, but some of them, sometimes they throw up an absolute worldie. So you find that by going into the scouting section, then here, request director of football suggestions. So I've got 𝘼𝙗𝙗 𝙯𝙗𝙗. He is a very good director of football. His reputation is not as high as I would like, but he's got 19 for judging player ability and 18 for judging player potential. And as you can see, he's got a full understanding of Holland and a very good understanding of Germany. But what we can do is we can request a director of football suggestion. So in this instance, what do I need? I think I need a centre back in this save the most. So let's say defensive centre back. We click on them, and then he will give you 3 good suggestions, or 3 suggestions. They may not all necessarily be good. So in this instance, he's throwing up Adrian Popper, who doesn't really cut it for me, despite being 6'6", great jumping reach. He's kind of lacking a little bit. He's at Borussia Mönchengladbach as well. We've got Connor Williams, who's out of Bayern Munich. I'm Hertha Berlin, so no shot at getting him. And then Oscar, who's at Barcelona. Looks like a decent little player. But what I do is I use these director of football suggestions left, right, and centre. You can go through your whole team, guys, and they will give you suggestions if they think they are deemable. As you can see, I've done strikers, I'm doing attacking midfielders, but this is what you need to look for, guys. He's thrown up this guy here, advanced forward, Pedro Henrique from Cruzeiro, over in Brazil. This is a good player that we're going to look at checking out. His physicals look fantastic. His decisions are good. His dribbling's good. Finishing's good. This is exactly what we're looking for from this type of suggestion. Inverted winger again from Sporting. He does throw in some very good ones every now and again, guys. So make sure you are using your director of football to give you transfer suggestions. And last but by no means least, we are going to talk about the active assignments that your scouts are on. As you can see, I have been relatively lazy with this up until recently, where everybody focused on the general focus. I would do a lot of scouting manually, and then they would just go and find what they could. I have now been going through and setting up my scouting assignments directly myself. And I urge you guys to do this as well. If you've not seen, I'm going to bang on about 𝘼𝙗𝙗 again. He's done a tier list about where you can prioritize your scouts, where he thinks some of the best new gens come from. And I kind of agree with most of them, most of what he said. So this is where I've got my scouts set up, guys. I've got one looking in Central Europe. These are all looking for hot prospects for my formations. So go on to a person. This guy's scouting my next opposition because he's got good tacticals. So let's go on to Kieran Scott. So Kieran Scott has a full understanding of England. He's got 19 for judging player ability, 20 for judging player potential. So you give him an assignment by going scouting assignments. And as you can see here, he is scouting England ongoing. He's currently attending matches looking for hot prospects in England. Desired attributes are looking for youngsters. And as you can see, the look at what he's doing. If we go to edit this assignment, this is what he's set up to look for, guys. He's looking for a transfer. He's not looking for a loan or a end of contract. He's looking specifically within England. He's looking for hot prospects that fit my clinical chiefs tactic that I've been running throughout this entire save. And he is now ongoing, constantly looking for these new gens in England. And that is how you set up the scouting assignments, guys. So I've got one on Central Europe, England, South Europe, South America West, another on Central Europe, Eastern Europe, North America, South Europe, South America West, Eastern Europe. You get the idea, guys. I'm just going to start scrolling through and you guys can start seeing them. I've only got one dude, Joshua John in South Africa. I believe we've got East Africa as well. We do. We are scouting some of these areas to try and improve our knowledge, but having that worldwide spread of scouts is very, very good. And I have to admit, for me, one of my favorite nations or regions to scout is Scandinavia. And there's a reason behind that, guys. That is because my best player and my favorite player in this save, 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪, is Danish, comes from Scandinavia. He's fantastic. As you can see, this season so far, he's got 13 goals in eight. Sorry, this is all international. He's got 13 goals in 8 international appearances in the UEFA Nations League as we are about to start this new season in the Pentagon Challenge. So I urge you guys to join in with the Pentagon Challenge. It is fantastic. We are on that home stretch now, and using this scouting method, I've been able to pull in some really good players to 𝘼𝙗𝙁, which you need to come in and check out on the next episode, which will be tomorrow at 5 PM UK. But that is where I'm going to leave things for today, guys. If you have enjoyed it, don't forget to drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you found it useful, and ring that bell so you're told each time that we upload a video to the channel. But until next time, guys, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you on another one very, very soon.